Good afternoon, Jefferson Jimmy's. Thank you for coming together. This might be one of the last times we get to all come together as a school. I think we have maybe a few more occasions. But today is a celebration of our fine arts department. You guys get to see some Jefferson Jimmy's up on stage. Right now we have our strings crew, who is up here under the direction of Mr. Lishner. And later we will have Mrs. Walkley up on stage with her friends. So everyone who's up here performing for you used to be in your seats when they were in kindergarten and first grade and second grade and third grade. And this is what you get to work to. This is what helps us to build our music program. You'll get to hear some wonderful music. You'll get to see some really incredible skills from some of our friends. But this is the very beginning of our music program that takes you all the way through to the middle school and the high school as well. So because these friends have been working so hard throughout the entire year, we want to make sure that we give them our awesome superstar behavior as audience members. So please make sure that you are on your bottoms to the bottoms, backs to the backs. Keep your feet and your hands in front of you. I know that some of our friends had some stuffies. Let's just make sure that those are sitting on your lap and are not becoming distractions to you or anyone else around you. And then otherwise, we're just going to be good audience members, keeping our eyes and our ears on the performers and waiting until their performance officially finishes before we give them our wonderful round of applause. Thank you, and enjoy our show.
Welcome to the concert, everybody. I'm Mr. Lishner, and as Dr. Lee mentioned, I'm the strings teacher here. The first group that you're going to see perform is the third grade orchestra. So these students have now been playing for about, well, since September, February, March, April, May. They were playing for 9 months. And I think you're going to be very impressed with what they've accomplished. The first piece we're going to play is entitled The French Folk Song. The second piece that we're going to play today is entitled Chicken with a Cell Phone. So the cellos are going to go out the back door, and Louis is going to help you. So we're putting the cellos against the wall. And over there. We're trying to get back in your from the third grade orchestra to the fourth and fifth grade orchestra. These students have now been playing for 2 or 3 years, and the music, I think you're really going to like the music that we're going to present. So, the first piece we're going to play is a song called Catch a Falling Star. Now, before we start, where are the second graders? Where are the second graders in the afternoon? Oh, good. Second graders, do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? That's right, tomorrow you're going to try string instruments. So, how about, before we go on any further, stand up. So, for those of you second graders who are interested in this next year, these are violins. Violins, could you play? Let's start on your G's. You go 3, 4 G. 1, 2, 4 G notes. Go. Now let's hear 4 G's. Ready? Go. instrument that kind of looks like a violin, but has a lower, sort of mellower sound. Viola players, when you stand up, hold up your hands so you can see. This looks like a violin, but it has a lower sound. Violas, when we start between 4, let's start on the A string. Let's do 4 A. 1, 2, 4, A. And now 4 Ds. 4 Gs. And 4 Cs. So that's the difference between the violin and the viola. And then now, cello players. And now, viola players, cello players, you can stand up and show the audience the second grade of cello. So, what's this big instrument here? The cello. The cello has a very low sound. Cello's we're going to play a little bit for the cello. So let's start off. A string 4 times. Now, 4 Ds. Same on the G. And now 4 Cs. Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's also have a good season. Okay, so as I was saying, our first selection is called Catch a Falling Star. So second graders, watch the different instruments. If you really like the violin, well, watch what the violins are doing. If you like the viola, keep an eye on the violas. If you like the cello, keep an eye on the cello. So, Catch a Falling Star. 1, 2, cello, start. anybody ever heard of a composer named Johann Sebastian Bach? Okay, good. I'm sure Miss Young will talk all about it. So today we have a very special treat. We have two very talented violin players. We have Alex sitting here on the left, and Jefferson Chow here on the right. And today they're going to play one of the most sophisticated works that's ever been written. It's called the Bach Concerto for Two Violins in D minor. So, without any further ado, I leave it to Alex and Jeffrey. When you're ready. That's not something you're going to see every day. Okay, so we have one more piece to play, and then it'll be our great pleasure to present the fourth grade band. The orchestra is going to play a song called The Weller Man. And now, we're going to be bringing the fourth grade band up in just a moment once we get to the orchestra.
been here. It's so nice to have you all here for our performance this afternoon. Up here on stage, we have our beginning band. So these are fourth graders who just started playing their instruments at the start of this year. And if you are in some of the younger grades, like first grade, second grade, third grade, you are thinking about whether you want to play an instrument in the future or some band instruments. So as you're watching our performance, make sure you're listening to all the different instruments and think about what you like the sounds of and what you potentially might want to play. So our first song is called Dragonfly. Build like a geyser getting ready to explode, and then all of a sudden you'll hear the cymbals crashing and percussion making some sounds to mimic the sound of an explosion. So we hope that you enjoy Geyser Point March. might recognize it. It's an older rock song, and it's called Barbara Ann. This is their last performance here at Jefferson, and I'm super proud of how far they've come. Our first piece with them is called Prologue, which is something that happens before, so it's appropriate that we are starting their portion of the concert with this This song is a lot of fun, but it's also very challenging. And it features some instrument sections I want you to listen specifically for. It's going to feature our clarinet players. Clarinet, can you wave your hands? It's also going to feature our flute players. And it's going to feature our trumpets in the middle of the song. So as you're listening, listen for those moments around the middle of it for those instruments. You're doing a really great job. Students, enjoy. Just like they wanted in the last beginning again to mimic the geyser explosion, this one is supposed to be like a supernova explosion, when a star explodes in space. So it has a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Enjoy. afternoon, we've got one more song to play for you. Before we do that, though, I first want to take a minute and thank a couple of people because, you know, playing in a band or playing in an orchestra takes a lot of teamwork. You gotta work together as a team. So all of these students have been working really hard to work together as a team, but it also includes all of the adults in this building to make all this happen too. All the teachers, everybody in the office, everybody at home, families and parents. So let's give everybody that has helped support all these young musicians a big round of applause. We also have a very unique opportunity here this afternoon, and this is kind of a personal thank you to me. All of the instrumental music staff at the elementary level is actually in the building helping us out today. So we've got Mr. Smith, Mr. McCormick, and then all of the spring staff too. We've got Mrs. Blues, we've got Mr. Harris, we've got Mr. DeLaurentis. They're all here today helping too. So can we give them a round of applause? Our last song is from the movie Indiana Jones. It's the Raiders March. This is the main theme. Finished our concert, and I ask you to look for your own teachers for direction on dismissal. Thank you all.
Okay, let's go by here quick. Wow. And he didn't know where I was going. He was like, I went to stand for me here and I
That might be my music. Oh yeah, that's my music.